All right, welcome aboard of Motorsport on this 26th day. Show as of this program, but we'll kick off our show with that. Pick it up from there after that interaction.
Rage buggy, and in my we lost 5 members of our immediate passenger in a group and car, but I've never.
Yeah. Thanks for that. Then we have a lot of questions that we really then from a bag straight into another. Your first Kenya.
Yes, this was my first event outside Kenya. Previously, I've only done local Kenyan autocross, rally raid, and rallies. So this was our first event out as a team.
Okay, so you take us through how did the 2024 championship unfold for you to become the national Kenyan national rally championship for last year?
So I think, as is common knowledge across East Africa, the Kenyan motorsport scene has really struggled. So while we are crowned the 2024 Kenyan national champions, it's not a very glorified title because there was not much competition and there were not many events. I'd say our strongest competition was another fellow R5 driver, Jasmi Chana. Apart from that, you know, the local championship was really on the decline. We were only having 7 to 10 cars in a rally. So it's unfortunate, but at the same time, you know, we still did enter the events that were there and we gave it our best shot. So we emerged as the 2024 champions. And I think it's been a continuous learning experience. A lot of people may know that, you know, we had that unfortunate role in the 2024 WRC Safari Rally. So it was coming off the bat of rolling and, you know, learning again, finding our confidence again behind the wheel, picking up our pace. And we used the 2024, you know, season to do that. And, you know, by the grace of God, we emerged as champions. And that allowed us now to look out of Kenya, broaden our horizon and look out at the Africa Championship.
Yeah, so you talked about the number of entries in Kenya coming down. Many people have attributed, I've also a couple of Kenyan competitors here, Karan Patel, Sachania, Tausif Khan, and others, attributing them giving different reasons. That's why you guys have had that cut or that dwindling number of entries. In your view, what do you attribute it to? Because others talked about COVID. Then others even attributed the coming of the WRC into Kenya as one that has really set standards so high for the locals not to compete on their national championship events.
You know, I don't think so. One, you can definitely attribute it to tough economic times.
Yeah.
You know, but beyond tough economic times, I think our motorsport body has been riddled with a lot of, for lack of a better word, I think too many complexities internally and too much politics. And at the behest of all of that politics, you know, it basically crumbled motorsport in Kenya. There were no funds to run events. The little funds that were there, it was never transparent, so sponsors pulled out. And as well for privateers, I think, you know, with tough economic times coming out of COVID, a lot of people, you know, didn't want to spend much on rallying and, you know, had other priorities. So there's a whole multitude of factors that come into play. And I think it's just culminated in, you know, the death essentially of rallying in Kenya. So there are other bodies that have now been formed out there that are trying to revive the sport, and we can only hope for the best.
Yeah, then any memories in that championship that you always live to tell after 2024?
Yeah, a lot of memories. You know, we had a lot of great moments in the car. You know, a lot of learning along the way. I'd say winning Nanyuki Rally was a really nice feeling for me because that's always a region of Kenya that's very close to my heart. I've always had a strong affection to Nanyuki. So winning that rally was a special feeling. We were up against 2 R5s in that event, Jasmi Chana and Akif Ferrani. And so I'd say that was the most memorable moment. And of course, at the end, you know, winning the championship, that's the icing on the cake.
Okay, then we talked about your rallying career. Then let's talk about the co-drivers who have been there for you. It's one of those issues that, as a competitor, as a driver, that I've seen very many Kenyans. I'll give an example. Ravi Soni and Baldev Singh Chaga, they have driven for ages. Tim Joseph and Ian Duncan as well. What do you make of that? That should for you to compete? Because recently we've seen you, Justalok. He's been by Justalok has been in Uganda for this was his 4th year, because he came with Manvid since 2017. They won the ARC for 3 years, dominated the African continent. Do you think that for one to perform like for you, you ought to have that bond with that person so that you can learn each other and perform better?
Absolutely. When you're in that car together, you need to be in tune with one another, because essentially you're also trusting each other with one another's lives. So beyond just one driving and one calling the notes, you need to have a bond between each other where, you can trust each other, where you can have a laugh, where you can go through the tough moments together. It all comes down to, how strong your relation is. Drew and I, this was only our 2nd rally together. But, I'd like to say that we've started building a really solid bond, and hopefully it's one that lasts and one that takes us through many championships.
Okay, then in regards to you're coming for the Pearl of Africa Rally. Do you have the plans of doing the entire championship? Because you came from Kenya doing the ARC. Of course, unfortunately, you got dropped out in that Kaguta stage. So what are your plans for this year for the ARC? Are you doing both the KNRC and the NRC? Because the ARC, because at least I know 2 Kenyans on my fingertips who have won both championships. One of them was Jasping Singh Chata in 2015. He won the KNRC and as well as the ARC. And the other one was Carl Flash Tundo, winning the ARC as well as the KNRC. Plans of the same as well?
Well, actually, unfortunately, we don't have a KNRC this year. We're halfway into the year. There's been no national rally yet. So, as I mentioned, there is no rallying in Kenya. It has crumbled, and it's very unfortunate. So for us, our only focus is on rounds of the ARC.
Yeah, but in Kampala, we've only driven 3 events. We've only driven 3 events. We are left with 4 events. It's not too late for you to come and join and win this championship. Open invitation, VOHRA.
Well, maybe not this year, maybe next year. Maybe next year we'll come and do a few more rounds in Uganda. I think, with all credit to the Ugandan fans, they're what make a rallying happen, and the atmosphere, the vibe, it's unmatched, it's unparalleled. Even with the WRC being in Kenya, I don't think the Kenyans can match in a WRC the energy the Ugandans could match in an ARC. So, all credit to the Ugandan fans. You make us want to come back, and, hopefully we'll come back to give you more of a show.
So we expect you to come back to Uganda doing the entire championship, or a few selected events?
I don't know if we'll be able to this year. We haven't really planned to do national rallies in Uganda. Let's see as the year progresses. There's a very close friend I have in Uganda who is also a fellow rally driver, Yasin Nasser. So, he's a great compatriot, a lovely person as well. So I'll also have a chat with him and, get his thoughts on things. But for now, our primary focus remains on trying our best to do the remaining rounds of the ARC.
Yeah, and the next round of the ARC is in Rwanda. Then you still have Burundi and Tanzania. So 3 more rounds left. We expect to see all of those events.
Hopefully, for us, as a family, being a business family, our first priority is work. So we're trying our best to balance our calendars, balance our schedules, and balance responsibility. So should time permit, our aim is to do all the rounds, but we're not giving any firm commitment to it. And this year as well, it's not really a fight for the championship. This year, it's we're looking to just try and learn the different terrains, learn the different countries. And then next year, you will see a proper fight from the Sheffield Racing team for the Africa Championship title.
So you've declared one next year.
Well, we're looking to come and give those our fellow competitors a good fight next year.
Yeah, I run for their money. All right. Then the other thing is when you're making decisions to buy cars, we're based on very many things. How did you zero down to a Skoda?
So I think when you look at the R5 market that's out there, you've got Hyundai, Toyota, Ford, and Skoda, and Citroen as well. Toyota is very new, very recent. And the reason I think we went for a Skoda is because between all the R5 brands, the only two brands that were really tried and tested on African soil was Skoda and Ford. And Skoda proved to be the more stronger and more reliable car. So that was the reason why we really went for the Skoda. It's not to discredit any of the other manufacturers. I just think that, the Skoda is a brilliant car for African terrain.
All right, then if you're to drive a Group N car, which car would you drive? Though you're not driving it, but if at all, what did you have in your mind before getting the Skoda?
I think, so my recce car is a Subaru VAB. I think if I could convert one of those into a rally car as a Group N, that would probably be the one I'd want to run. Okay. I think, pretty quick cars, decent handling. So maybe one of those, or as they usually say, the Subaru Evo Fight, a car that's always been on my bucket list as Evo 9. I would love to rally an Evo 9.
Okay. Okay. So if we have one, we have a number of Evo 9s in Kampala. If one offered you one, would you mind coming and competing in the next event?
You see, it would be very kind of somebody to offer me that car, but there's always a saying, you can't drive another man's car as you would drive your own. So it would be nice to drive that car around a small circuit and see what it's like, but I don't think I could ever drive that car like it's my own and commit the way I would in my own car.
Yeah, much understood. Okay, then you're doing the RC this year. Of course, not really going all out, but we've had in the recent past the same synonymous with that has been happening in Kenya. The number of entries on the ARC have always been down the last couple of years. Maybe if you're to advise, given your experience now, you've tackled the ARC, or maybe you've seen guys competing, what would you advise comes to better the number of entries on the African Rally Championship?
I think the biggest thing it always boils down to is the costs. Doing the ARC is not cheap. It's a very, very expensive affair. And I think what the FIA, in conjunction with each respective country, need to do is find ways that they can, introduce either some incentives or find ways to reduce costs. When you look at the ARC in Uganda, it's always previously been held in Jinja. This time it was taken up to Mbarara. For example, us as Kenyans, it would be easy to cross the border and to at least get to Jinja, have the event in Jinja, cross again. But this time it was a whole different logistical nightmare, coming in through the border, Busia, into Jinja, into Kampala, spending the night in Kampala, traveling again the next day, 5 hours into Mbarara, rallying there, then on the way back, stopping in Kampala again, and then coming back. So I think, the organizers, need to take into account not just the local drivers of that country, but also, the international drivers, how to make it easy for them. We appreciate that they give one free room and they give some fuel to the international competitors doing the ARC. But I think, it's always about finding ways to reduce costs. And if I look at it, maybe if drivers from a certain region, could share the cost of sharing a car carrier, so all cars travel together on one carrier, getting more sponsorship on board. If the local countries for their specific rally could get more sponsors on board to, reduce the burden on competitors, it would make a difference. And I think as well, the other thing is marketing. While the rally enthusiasts will always know what's going on, beyond that, not many people know that the ARC is on. Well, and I'm talking about from a competitor's point of view. I think the FIA and the local countries really need to make some noise about hosting such events and building their popularity. And last but not least, I think it's about introducing more and more young talent to the sport. when you look at some of the entry lists, we've got a lot of old drivers in there, which is a great sign to see they're still going. But it's just to see how these local ASNs are also introducing and helping young talent come into the sport. And I think that's the only way we're going to boost ARC and local entries, is just by bringing in more young talent now.
Okay, then let's get, let me, as I ask this question, it's kind of getting you down to the recent event. It's a bit hurting to people who are really supporting you in that event. What happened for you in that, Kaguta stage? First things first, what did you make of Uganda's terrain in terms of during the Pearl of Africa rally?
I mean, the Ugandan roads are fantastic roads. Really, really nice place to rally. I think by the time we retired, we had built a lead of 1 minute 37 seconds over Karan. Because in the morning stage of day 2, we had taken 31 seconds out of their time again. So from our overnight lead of 1 minute 1 second, we took another 31 seconds, so taking our lead over to I think 1.5 minutes or 1 minute 35 seconds thereabouts. And going into the Kaguta stage, we were car number 1 on the road. And the stage, I'm sure as you all know, was delayed by over an hour. I think 1 was because of weather, 2 was the safety car. We had a lot of rain. So I think at that particular point where we retired, we came over a max crest into a fast jump. But into that fast jump, I think we just misjudged the braking point. So we took off the jump, and it was just a heavy landing on the front right, which broke our front right control arm. So we couldn't repair that in the stage. So that's what unfortunately, retired us from the rally. Had it not been that, I mean, there was a lot of rumors that we've had a big crash and all sorts of the car has gone into safe mode. But I think that there was no one really there either to actually see and document what happened. But in essence, we just broke our front right control arm.
Yeah, because I did compete in that event as well. We came to do that stage and we told that VOHRA has got an issue, like what has really happened. But of course, from the start point to where you guys had the issue, it was kind of far. We couldn't get there, and yes, the stage was delayed. Until until you guys were evacuated and the car was removed and the stage did.
No, there was no evacuation. The ambulance did arrive, but no evacuation. In fact, once the car was taken back into service, within 20 minutes, a new control arm was fitted, a new bumper was on the car, and we drove the car onto the trailer and trailered it back to Kenya. It was as simple as that. So there was really no big damage, just some minor damage to a broken control arm, and unfortunately that put a stop to our campaign in Uganda.
Yeah, still on that very stage, we had done it more. We did the same stage on Friday, because we first did the 6 kilometer stage Rukari, then came and do those 2 stages, Kaguta and Ankoleka, then came into service, then did the super special stage. You used the same. Was there any adjustment in the notes for day 2?
No,
because you had the same breaking point in day 1.
Notes. It was just the change in surface because of the rain.
Okay.
So where I would have naturally braked, for that jump, coming over the max crest, into that jump, it was quite slippery, and I missed the braking point. So by the time I took off that jump, I couldn't slow the car down enough.
Oh, sorry, but hard luck, and next time better.
Absolutely, these things, as they say, what doesn't kill you only makes you stronger.
Yeah, sure.
So you're coming back stronger. We're coming back to fight again. These are setbacks, but what this does is give us a learning experience that we take forward with us. It's also for us as a team, having had the lead we had of over 1.5 minutes, we could have really backed off on the notes, taken a big step back. So these are all things we have to learn with. Uganda was only my 9th ever career rally. My 9th time rallying the Skoda and my 9th time in that rally car. So I still have a long way to learn. 9 rallies is not even a full season. So we still have a long way to learn, a long way to go, and a lot of pace to still find. We're still not driving that car to its absolute maximum. There's still a lot left in it, and we have to keep learning.
Yeah. So did you sign as many autographs as you had anticipated? Were and above?
No, I didn't even sign one autograph. A few people took some photos, but no autographs.
No autographs. I have a friend of mine called Enoch Olinga. You know him?
Yes, Enoch Olinga.
The
co-driver.
He has your signature. Did you forge it? He said that you signed him an autograph.
And I think, as we continue, I think the biggest gratitude is actually out of the Ugandan fans. It was truly, truly heartwarming and impressive to see the numbers out there on the stages. Seeing how the fans were walking into the stages, how they were lined out around the whole stage, through the corners, and the support that they gave us. It was my first time to Uganda, but we received a lot of love from Ugandan fans. So, thank you very much to them all.
Okay, then my second last question to you is about we've talked about Ugandan fans. Then what did you make of because Karan has come to Uganda for the last Karan was here. He's won the last 2023, 2024. Because 2022 PAL was won by Jas Mangat. Karan was in there as no. 2022 PAL was won by Jas Mangat in an Evo 10. Then there was that battle of the ARC between Karan and Leroy Gomez, which went all the way to Rwanda. Finally, Zambia and Gomez won the championship with Ursula Gomez. 2023 Karan came and won here. 2024 as well. So 2025 came in here and people are like, well, who's going to give Karan a run for his money? And we are previewing the Pearl of Africa with Enoch, and he's like, it's money on Sammy VOHRA. And guys put a lot of money on Sammy VOHRA. Did it for day one. Sammy VOHRA didn't do it for day two. And people a lot of money on Sammy VOHRA. If you have to, you can just send to me, then I refund it to them. So I'm like,
I think what I can tell all the Ugandans who put some money on us is in 2026, double up, double your money, put a bigger bet, because we're coming to make back everything you lost. Let us come and win it back for you.
Okay, Sammy, thank you very, very much for joining us and sparing time off your busy schedule. I know it's been kind of hard for you to find this time and joining us. It's very, 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 very happy, and the Ugandan fans have been waiting for this show ever since we did come up with that graphic design, that the Speed Merchant. The Speed Merchant, that's the English version. But we have a local language called Luganda. Have you had something to do with Luganda?
Yes.
Any word you can speak in Luganda?
Not yet. I travel to Uganda quite often. I think I come to Uganda once every 2 months in Kampala.
Okay.
So I think I need to start learning a bit more Luganda. And I think, for all the Ugandan fans out there, you can all take a little bit of pride in the Team Sheffield Racing Team, because our Skoda is a Ugandan registered car. So it is a Ugandan car that will come back to win in Uganda.
That previously owned by Aman Raj.
Yes, this was a car previously owned by Aman Raj. And so I think the Ugandan fans can come back next year and look out for the same car. And we hope to make you proud with a Ugandan registered car. Yeah,
but this year we only left with 3 RC events, and you talked about there's no rallying in Kenya. That means this year we've done 2 events, the Safari and the Pearl of Africa Rally. If you do the next 3 events, that will be 5 events. Will that really give you that much test into that car going in 2026, where you think you want to go all out for the ARC, or you need to do more events to accustom yourself with the car?
I think each rally is, especially across the African continent, has its own experiences to take away from.
That has been Sammy VOHRA. That's the interaction we've had with him in our first segment of the show. I pretty much to digest out of that, but we first go in for a short commercial break. To come out, we have a lot. The autocross round, the first round of the autocross championship, as well as the enduro championship. We were there, definitely bring up to speed how things did unfold. Then, of course, the Constitutional Review Committee, or working group, has been meeting clubs and deliberating on very many things in as far as bettering our FMA constitution to align itself with the National Sports Act. Can come after a short commercial break. All right, so we'll be back from that short commercial break. It's the Podium Show every single Monday from 10 p.m. to midnight, where we preview and review in the world of motorsport on this 26th day of May 2025. Of course, in that segment, we had demo VOHRA, and a lot to pick out from that deliberation, from that interaction with him. And he talked very, very touching moments about him losing the family, and within a space of I get losing the family in motorsport in the recent, just in the recent past, the demise of Rajiv, the demise of Dr. Arthur as well, and the demise of Carlos Paus as well. I mean, sport has been too much, and yeah. But he says he's rallying in memory of the family, and which is really, really good. It keeps the momentum up there. And the irony is about him jumping from the buggy to
straight to the ramp.
He jumped here World Cup. It's not been seen anywhere before.
Right. You know, I gamba on actually off air. No, Naenga. Yeah, it's really very good. Okulira in the spirit. VOHRA generally get mu ya family. Abatachimanyi tata wa VOHRA yali mulabi nnyo wa rally, yali muntu nnyo wa rally. Era nga ne classic rally ezo yazigobereranga nnyo. So they are very big rallying family in Kenya. Era nga tusobola kumentioninga erinnya VOHRA in motorsport fraternity mu Kenya. Notafuna bintu birungi ebiwaddeyo. So okulaba nti he's rallying in memory of his family is really absolutely amazing. I mean, there's no better way to keep a family's memory alive, you know. And yeah, basically, even me myself personally, if I'm going to be rallying again, it will be in memory of my brother, you know, to be honest. And yeah, you know, when wendi ninache mfumba, hopefully fraternity jachi, you know, jachi bula, ne family jachi bula, you know, to try and, you know, memorialize the kind of person that you know Rajiv was. So yeah, I come to be antine. Dr. Arthur, medical commission, Nemu club, Jaliava, there should be something that is, you know, going on that front. So, yeah, yeah, buggy to R5.
Those ones into the legal world, but judges don't die. Their judgments live on. You can refer to it despite the fact that Yajikola passed on.
Those are the sportsmen.
Sportsmen never die. Their memories, they live on. One of the things I remember about Rajiv is when the Hoima, the event you guys won in Hoima, there's a corner of Twalim, and maximum commitment. But to us, got to get tight out. From the way he did, from the way
that long
engage much power into the car to get tight out. Maybe that just does two downshifts. That sound of the sequential Julia. From 5 to 3. Then just kakao katono. I think these cars, because Baba is you know the diff settings and everything. And if I told you know kwada tujitana ro ate ato highway katono downshifts then bidi yeah, then become just steering nagitiltinga mu katono netunda gyajagala as the car is setting apex corner where it na engaging mu 4 nakuba 5 kati twagamba abantu tulina kuvaawo kubanga abaddako ayinza obutabikola ne basimulirawo ebyo byakoze tulina omwana ajja 5 4 anotuka in that point ngali mubbi kati okuba because the approach of that corner was gialinga teyali ntuufu n'amaizi nga akubye nekkene ngamba ali wane tukola kibona sabagambi
ekibuzo kiri nti noti yali nnungi okuva ewako drive
ata credit twagiwa nnyo drive ko drive alosala butungulu.
In one of those days natunako comnotes za Enoch pose za mukoma kumeka ku 5 Enoch ngaina mune 9 era nebuuza nabuuza ko muri ngaina
how do you grade such a course how do
naina mu 9 right ninjira no mubuuza kati 9 tata wa bana obotegeza kyeno nezikiriza ndikake commitment wejira ati bweba 9 someone will know what to do in the 9 never guess wakati obaidi
ne byabane zinabagamba ni very living example and my is ali mulwadi mu pali ya 2024 aus gonaringo wako na afa I know where I'm going ngoma awo banyekere kale naso akopali ono ausi tasha akopali maybe to offer tuli yakaya bamubaye
from a baggy neze chindabi mwecho chonna teyafuna kubuzibwa bwa either squad manya evo simanyi sijui Subaru simanyi yo rava mo baggy rear drive na tukirawo nagenda mu motoka
nga olaba Oscar Tamiti abade mawoteza najirawo mu RFA
inaika nabangaze ati afunye handling empie ye motoka. What I have to perfect is the new car. Tafuna comparison it how ba evo yali handling zeta wano oba Subaru yali handling zeta wano is perfection ejiramu Skoda R5 advantage jona zafuna kati era jobula ndoza aiza nofuna obuzibu omuzza mu evo bamanyi bizibu byetu kona hapo na
yeah, so I was asking ade mubuza whether he still does so kuddako mu naje wako ne yasin last year we again nakola the when he did the ARS when he did the we call the safari
yes
of course for your friends there's an event he did in Rwanda Najana GVB
Tanzania as well I think
you just didn't I mean it's a different
exactly
it's a different complexion all
so for him now this is a perfect thing all his comparisons are on that Skoda.
It's like one of the drivers in the recent PAL yavamu motoka a group and car na scaling awansi so bomusa ku street jombuze ko how it felt how I mean why did you try to acclimatize era nombuza memory sazirina memory zero
empunjezi yali nenyo ezembale yazinanga
but then of course the Kenyans of course VOHRA talked about their sporting having very many issues.
Yeah, actually actually today amaze chogerako nezijukira they have not. We are almost midway. They have not done it.
Safari, yes.
Safari,
actually, those are more in terms of discipline rally. It's only safari. Running. But I know they have run, I think, 2 RX events.
Yes.
And then they have run about, I think, 4
autocross events. Yes.
Naenga mulimu ejawulo mu ngeri gyabalinga autocross
zabwe neza ffe running ewaffe
nabe Mombasa ba hosting there is one I saw
yes kati ekiyimirizaawo rallying I would say in Kenya is kuba balina segmentation eyo gye bagamba nti every club in whatever area they are in Kenya can be able to organize small championships kyetubadde twogerako wano the commissioner w'ekiggwe wawere tebagala kukkiriza naye nga
so
biggest club being Mombasa Motorsports Club. For them, their regional championship is
very vibrant.
It's very, very vibrant. Why I know every year they run, I think about 5 events, if I'm not 4 or 5 events. They're champion about the end of the event. By the end of this will come kuminatano, you know, most of the time. So, but it's very, very vibrant in Mombasa. I think they're really
very, very good.
Newsletter.
Yeah, because just
badokitizene MXT basobola okutwala ne MXT ne kamutaka weka ali kubanga emipingo ne batwala MX number eya CAC olabirira nti bo bali winning.
The club is progressing, and one of the things that twalikwanoza tuva mu CSC, which was in Kalisi, and Samakula was talking about them doing regional events. So that CSC event in Kalisizo was a national MX, MX round 3, CSC round 1, and their first event. Me, I wouldn't mind whoever is scoring, as long as you score. Not all of them on the rota were scoring on the regional, but at least they began. And if they have 2 more 3 events, then they have a champion and do their awards. And because it's regional awards are not that expensive to do, as because they have to start. Yesterday, you were one of the Mugundi officials by event.
Yes.
The autocross event had 6 point. What was the exact mileage of?
6.21 kilometers.
Yeah, 6.21 kilometers. If I may have seen Mukasa, if I can't move from Barara, 280 kilometers, come do 6 point, then go back.
280 was a paka Kampala.
And 280
Mukono
is 21 around 280 at 300, then around 310. Then the prize giving of that event began where I was. What time then you have to be in office today. If you have them done at like the way the Mombasa guys do it, and it's a
ndoze ekintu ekyo tukyogeddeko naye ndowooza bakama baffe bayinza okuba era tebassayo kintu ekyo batu kintu kino naye bwe tuba tulina okutwala motorsport maaso tulina okugenda region gyekisooka region tulina okudelegatinga Kenya siba akyogerako wano bulijjo nti we have clubs already established in some of these regions. Eastern Motor Club, East Jerry. Southern Motor Club, Southern Part Jerry. Central, we have Mamieno Kasale Water, at least Central, Bundiye, one already. We have Bunyoro Kitara, whereby UMOSPOC, but they're taking over Bunyoro Kitara perfectly. And then UMC taking over Resoli region, Fort Poto. Those are 5 established regions. Those Tanikira government are we already. So we only remaining with 3 regions. It's also dividing about Sigande, and I'm very sure clubs are willing to answer Mumpe, West Nile, Tadike, Bushinge. I think that's the way we should go. Singo Munyochita events is AUTOCROSS independently before you give them a national event. Southern never nezayo yatandise never nesatu. Eastern never nezayo never nenya. Rally Bikasero jakubiranga mawulire buli lunaku buli weekend.
Before you know it, you have an event every weekend. Then someone asking about how do you then do, because that's a regional at regional level. Then how do you get a national champion? If you want you just winners of different regions or the top 3, whatever you can call it, then have one national event. You crown the champion.
He doesn't have to get to that level. National champion regions. No, I will have 7 national rallies in these different regions on the national calendar. Those 7 events to eventually become a national champion. Tomutaddeko kakwakulizaako nti alina okuvuga buli event eyo ku national calendar. He can settle for driving in his region nga Buganda. Sigenda vuga kilomita 310 okutuuka e Kampala, okuyita e Kampala ngende Mukono ngende Namataba, nvuge kilomita 6
ate nzire embalala.
Ate nzire embalala.
Even VOHRA has just talked about. He thought
exactly.
the Paul was in Ginger.
It would have been easier.
He said, then he has to travel to Mbar. So if a person leave the air driving a Skoda can talk about that mileage. They don't about the about the Johnny Constant. We're going for a break. Let's come out by saying that the MOTORSPORT Wale MZURI-AFRICA. Then to work on a constitutional working review group. But the Sinkana clubs regarding the amendments in the FME constitution to align itself with the National Sports Act, which was passed in 2023.
This track has been very good. I liked it. It is wide open. So for results, I was third overall, but in my class I was second. This is the first one. It has been a good start to the season, but I could do better. So next race, I'm hoping for a win. Just going to continue training as I go to France. Yeah.
Today's race has been good because I got second overall in my class. What I expect for the next race is getting first overall. I expect to win, to be the world champion.
This race has been good. As this year, I've been at the first five.
Race abadde bulungi nze nga nzisanze mu nnyo obuzibu bw'amaanyi side yange. Twaka ngayo bagikoze ebadde technical ebaddemu obuzibuzibu naye ate era ng'omuvuzi w'enduro era tuzze tukisuubira nga nze sitiddeemu kisangeera naye nga nze tempisiza nnyo bikoka nsobodde okukola luutu eziwera era nsuubira n'okuba nga ngenda beera okuba abamu abayinza obeera ku podium. Ontunya saati yange tebadde mbi because mbadde bonna mbalina bonna nga mbakulembedde mu maaso okuggyako awo wenziddeko mu service okufuelinga amafuta naye nga saati yange tebadde mbi era ndaba mutindo si weni nti we weeyagaza ate ne wennawo si wabi. Nze ng'omuvuzi mbadde naye navugako okolwesa enkadde naye nga nali nawummula ebitabo byali byantwala nnyo nga nadda nnyo mu side academics naye nkomyewo ate mbasuubiza okuddamu okupressurizinga mbeere nga ndi ku top.
The race has been good, though not very good. At the start of the race, my bike got a problem, the rear sprocket, so I had to ride slowly for the 1.5 hour, and Jason was chasing me. And another problem was the refueling. As we came, they delayed and I had to go. So that pressure for the refueling, but I finally managed to take the race.
Mululi okusinza ku event yaffe esoose mu nduro gye tusoose okuvuga omwaka guno kuba tetuvugangako nduro abadde atambudde bulungi nnyo okuba kye nabadde musuubiramu ata anchallenginze n'akola kye mbadde sikola ki kye mbadde simusuubiramu wadde akatono kuba okusooka naye kennyini yagitidde ngeri gye bakozemu practice nga bayitamu naye kuba stimenti atuuse ekiseera n'apiikinga nga n'omuyawulira takyagala kukola ki kuvaayo nga baba muli mu maaso abawulira abasobola asobola okuteekawo embeera asobola okuteekawo challenge ntuusa ekiseera ne ngamba senga event yatandise kya ne tuvuga essaawa zaffe 2 ezijjudde nandibadde nnyumirwa ekintu kino kuba kibadde kirungi nnyo era kibadde kiwoomu. Obubaka bwe mpa abazadde bannange nti guno omuzannyo mulungi guzimba ate era guyamba abaana obutafuna gurupu mbi nti gurupu z'abeera nazo buli kaseera yanibadde asinga ku training n'ebitabo so waliwo abeera mizannyo gye egy'omupiira afuna gurupu embi esobola kukola ki tasobola muzima naye guno omwana aba n'omuzadde kizunya omwana okuba yekka kizunya omwana okwonoonekera abazadde bannange mbasaba bw'oba olina obusobozi ne wasibwa amaanyi genda mu akademe oba tosobola kugula piki ojja kuya akademe osobola okuteekayo omwana n'ajja kweyagalira mu kintu kino ate era ajja kufuna mu maaso nawe omuzadde ogifunamu.
My name is Charles Suboa. I've been co-driven by Matthias Yeager, and yes, today is our first autocross together, and it's my first time to drive. I'm very expectant. The first run has been good. It was dry when we first ran, but yeah, it was good. It was quite a loose surface. I had so much to take in. Being a driver, I had to interpret the notes. You have about 1,000 things to do. But overall, I'm happy that we got to the finish. And I'm also excited that we really pushed the time, and we are expectant of the future ahead and a great time. I thank you for supporting Motorsport, and I welcome each and every one of you to join Motorsport. It's a tight track. We have corners of 1, 2, really tight, and it has some good stretches as well. I tried to make sure I was corners to minimize time loss, and also I tried so much to not do anything creative. So I was really basic in the whole event to try to use less time. First, I would like to thank Segabwe Musa himself for allowing me to use Matthias Chiega. It's been a great experience with him, and I've had a lot of experience and confidence building in the car. You know, there are those things you feel like, but if we really do this, shall we take that? He encourages you and tells you, no, put that here, do that, you'll be able to achieve it. So his me has really been a positive influence on my side. Looking forward to the new events. For this year, we are taking it slow, and hopefully our main sponsor, Mr. Timothy Gawaya from Stinger Racing, is proud of us. But look to see that we take on the Autocross Championship, and maybe next year we see how it shall go.
Tulina abavuzi baffe abato bagitegeka nga y'abavuzi abato mainly okulaba nti bapromotingibwa oba basunsulwamu okudda ku mutendera oguddako. Tulina akademe yaffe y'Abani Mulindwa, tulina ba co-drivers abato. Buli events bwe ziti lwe zibaawo tujja okulabika nti tuwa omukisa ba co-drivers abato basobole okubeera nga bayiga ebyo, ate enkya tusobole tugenda okubeetaaga nga weebali. Kya mukisa mulungi. Olwaleero tuvuze ne co-driver nga muto bamuyita Zainabu Sambo, naye kyemmanyi afunyeemu kinene kuba atera naye kyemmanyi ajja kuba mulungi. Addewo competition okuviira ddala mu two-wheel drive kubanga ne champion Watendwa yazze ng'agamba nti Pasuwa bw'aba gyali tugende tutesinga ebyuma nga bwe twetegekera ate okugenda Murale egenda okubeera e Busoga omwezi ogujja, naye era tuvugidde ddala bulungi lwakuba embeera y'obudde ebadde yakasavu kanyama, niye kyemmanyi abaddeyo banyumiddwa.
Mwaka guno nkozeko driving ate era nensalawo nvuge ne championship eya autocross. Event yaffe yasooka twali mu PAL, twavuga event ezasooka mu Masaka n'Embaala ne tusalawo tutandikire mu PAL nga we twetegekere omwaka tulabe gye gunaggwera kubanga driver ali mu kwaofubewa ku upgrading a motoka. So tubadde tuvuga event ezitatumenye naye nze nga nze nange nasalawo nvuge championship eya autocross driver okutandika career yange ey'okuvuga ya driving. Ne motoka eya Rale Subaru N8 eya Yaponsiano Rakataka jinina lwakuba leero sije mvuze Subaru Impreza G8 era event nzaji wangu first position overall era first position cadet autocross. Championship ya autocross y'omwaka guno kinteeka mu position ennungi n'okwemanya obusobozi bwange mu kuvuga kubanga amaanyi nali nasingaga concentratinga mu kusoma map naye nga njagala kushiftinga mpolampola nga wenjiga nzije mu kuvuga. So win eno empadde milestone nene nnyo n'okwongera okwekiririzaamu nze nti nange nsobola okutuula ku steering naye nkola driver wange byabadde ng'akola.
Yeah, those are some of the reactions of competitors and drivers and riders. Our daily autocross. The first round of the autocross championship. Yali ku MZURI-AFRICA, hosted, organized by UMOSPOC, of course, president by UMOSPOC. Mukuru Johnson Were. Clerk of the course. Yabade Mukuru Kato Hussein. Nebangambi other officials of the event. Kwadekani. Club steward. But yeah, very good event, and yeah, good to see a number of competitors there. That is Samambo as well as Lukenge. Very many guys come out to show. It's an influence of sport. come out and showcase what you want and you need, and you begin. For a driver, otandika competition. Twali competition Aaron twalina ne mu symposium. Nga tugamba nti if I'm to compete kati nganze mba kujja ngenda kubajia. That was very out of that moment the meeting of co-drivers kala guni gasingo kyogera siraje kaladi kasokota kaladi no bovuddeyo kasokota kaladi no bovuddeyo but the ngoga otandikira mu CRC you start and develop and then compete and everything. Now, if you want to gain more experience and everything, you begin with autocross. It's very 6 point something kilometers. I think 10
yeah, max.
Yeah, it gives a very good experience for one to feel.
Yeah, very true. Omanyi grassroots chikulu nnyo era ne ku level ya FIA encouraging nnyo grassroots kuba omuzanyo gulina okula. Nsiba ngamba abantu buli wenfuna opportunity nti a sport is bigger than all of us. Era omuzanyo gulina okula one way or the other. Kesha yagenda ku nsonga eri quite very interesting, quite crucial. Jabata kolinga mu symposium ya unfortunately sasobola kubeerayo naye nandibadde mu nedowooza eddene kuba okubeera co-driver n'osalawo nti naawe kati oyagala kukwata ku kaladi kutandikira wali mu CRC naye ate jjo naddemu ne conversation naawo ne co-driver omu n'agamba nti driver ye wabanga kangambe nga abadde avugidde ebbanga naye n'abulawo n'akomawo okuvuga. I think constitution regs zali zigamba after 10 years or so give or take nti abalina kuddayo abalina kutandikira mu cadet class kati nga waliwo ka contention ako nga bagamba nti ate co-driver ye abadde amanyidde okukwata ebitabo waki ate ye wajja nga abadde avudde ku side ya co-driver agenda kuvuga ate ye agenda wali mu CRC. Kyesitamugambye oba tetulafunye budde kwogeramu nti ebintu co-driver byakola ku mutto ogwo bye bivugisa emmotoka wali. So tekiri mu butali bubuulirire co-driver okuva mu kwata ekitabo ekyo n'agenda n'akwata ku kalaadi. Ero nimpoza ni yawangudde
mpulira kanaakulya
kanaakulya mpozi ki
co-driver
kakati ate ki ekirala kye tugamba bukoya simbula embarasi
But they're no longer called navigators. They're co-drivers.
Yes.
So if you tell me that I can co-drive, I can drive, then in fact our event was okay. It was just a routine going to for the awards. Korea, the guys who came second, Charles won, and Matthias Chega. It's Chega who drove that car from out of Park Farme to the prize giving day. So if Chega wants to compete, Omo can drive an NRC event with Segaway as a co-driver, drive that car as well, payable on transport, or even in a stage. If he entirely comes out to compete, allow him score 4 points as a driver on the NRC. But that event had very interesting crew. Formerly driven by Mamad Essa, Shafik Semuju, Erike Wampamba, Nalem Kurikauchi, Yabadaji, then
M7.
Nave UAU 803X.
Yes. There's a little screen right now. I think that was Hercules, if I'm not mistaken.
Formerly driven by Yassine
Jazubako. Yes.
Then
Bafablikne, Yunis and Bakunda.
Then Mark.
In fact, Mark. Then
they performing.
Of course, it's on the GVB. Nalebeko ne ku N12 eyali ya Peter Karule.
Oh, okay.
Yes, from the
driven by Dennis Bihazi.
Bihazi, sorry. So more there, and you could see drivers trying to showcase what they have. Muchikao being competed with Muchikao. And Muchikao so they are Jayoko. Very interesting to see as well. Kaunye Muhammad Buete. MZURI-AFRICA as well. Nabo balaze, but of course, bafunye that disadvantage until the time it had drained and definitely speeds the better once. Luwa only lost that event by only 7 seconds. They started owned by Timothy Gawaya. Almost won that event. Almost won that event. Kwa kana kuli avuze moka just bayayi. Kayira Faizo Kayira and the one day event.
Yeah, very nice. Kakati kyobadde ogamba olina kyokuttekaawo mu bufunze. Timothy Gawaya was the biggest sponsor wa Korea Charles Lubowa ne Mathias Chiyaga. Ngate performance yataddewo on his first event was quite eye-catching. Timothy, how are things? Yes, you got it.
So the next autocross, of course, there's been some bit of changes. But according to the calendar, the next autocross should be organized by Enduro on the 17th. Weekend year 17th weekend 17th to 20th.
Gomsamvu.
Yes.
After EMC.
That is going to be after the Mountain Gorilla Rwanda Rally and the Eastern Motor Club Rally.
That next weekend after EMC.
Yes. Kalenda y'omwezi gw'omusanvu eri quite interesting.
Eri mu Zion Estate. Wali Kagga, then wajja kubeera endala nga 5 paka nga weekend ya 5 paka 7 ogw'omwera Mwesigwa Resort and Mbarara. Then endala ejja organized by Smoke, that is Enduro Autocross Brick Farm in Patali Mukono. Then the last one need to be confirmed will be organized by Mozak. Weekend the 27th paka 30th of November 2020.
Kakati ebyo nga bikyali awo. Aaron, fabaddamu oba
muki
tukwate bukaladi
ate mwate kati mwate naawe temuqualifying kubeerawo. Okay, away from maybe okubayisizaamuko ku results katono nnyo as we tugenda constitutional review. The cadet class was won by the crew of Mustafa Kanakulya, Charles Lubowa ne Mathias Chiyaga bakubiri, Ian Hans ne George Seroga badde bakusatu, then Steven Isaac Lumo babadde bakuna. Then mu open class Samuel Bweta Mzarwanga bebagiwangudde, Daniel Bahizi, Dennis Bahizi, Jaffa Lukenge, Kotevase Mambo badde bakubiri Bamiloka Pasua ne Zaina badde bakuna. Then Peter Sebirumbi ne Shani Yakob Sinje mzee waka badde wakuna, ande Musoke Richard Sengero badde bakutana, Samuel Watendwa, Hassan Katerega bavuddeko bafunye ka off bamashino basindika ne bakoma the rest of time. Okasha Mugo ya Peter Brown
babadde mungi.
Warrant Officer 1 Hassan Katerega driving motoka bbiri bayiskwanize mu Rwasimanyi, Edson Mungereza ne Roger Serumba badde bamwenda. Edson baza ku track nga ne Enoch nga tumanyi bagati menya time yabakanakulya but tebasobodde
ne kakawa
kyabatabusenamu.
Owaye Roger ka message nkalinze muri ekyatuuse.
So overall Mustafa yawangudde event, Charles badde bakubiri, then Sibenda badde then Ian Hans badde bakusatu, then Stephen bakuna, Samuel Bete bakutano, then Bahizi ba mukaga, Ibrahim Logapaswa ba musanvu, Sebirumbi wa 8, ande Musoko wa 9, Watendo wa 10, Kasha Mugo wa 11, Lule wa 12, Edson Mungereza ne Serumu eba maliriza the number of finishers mu event. Okay, away from the autocross into the constitutional committee or group and how you
working review committee working group.
Waliwo issues zibaddewo nti baweebwa mandate mu 2022 mu October before the enactment of the National Sports Act.
Yes.
The terms they were to review and provide amendments for the constitution which was last amended in 2014 mu November. Baba bali preamble yabo bali mu process
mukutambula
ne wajja the National Sports Act 2023 mu August. So ne bajja ne ekola ine ebintu bingi byeleeta, so for them ne balaba nti beetagisa okukola the constitution kola those what you call your amendments n'ebirala nga bayina that the cognizant of the new sports, the National Sports Act. So the matandika, so they come up with a document. Producer sort of footage about clubs biodiversity. Enoch, you've been one of those ones. What has been your take on the proceedings so far?
Kuchenda bieko session je muli mukulaba mu TV nali part of that session under my club Central Motor Club. Naye nga direction je nalaba okugezaako ku understandinga mandate yali eweereddwa Constitutional Review Working Group nga nze ndaba omulimu gwe baakola guli within their mandate gye twali tubawadde nti initially mandate we yajja yali yako reviewing current constitution ebaddewo eyali yasembera oku amendingibwa 2014 nga bw'ogambye nga tubadde tuyisizaawo akabanga kanene nnyo nga constitution etambulanga bweri naye ate ne tugamba nga General Assembly nti nedda twetaaga okubeerawo n'enjawulo era gundi eyasooka okufuluma yali just about mandate baali bafulfillize mandate baabwe but as you said National Act ate bwe yajja nga balina okuddayo ba-aligning towards what the National Act is talking about mu bufunze which is corporate governance era tewali federation mu nsi saawa eno etalina structure ya corporate governance so tulina okukkiriza line ya professionalism eya sport gye tugendamu and the only way to professionalize sports is through corporate governance FUFA ekikoze tukirabyeko it is the best example we have right now in Uganda ate tulabye engeri gye kiri mu kutambula the relationship between FUFA or soccer and motorsports is quite significant naye nga tekigaana kutambulira mu structure eyo okugiteeka mu muzannyo gwaffe nga bwe tugumanyi because already unconsciously tubadde tukikola motorsports is spread around the country naye kati twetaaga okugiteeka mu line ya corporate governance okulaba nti we are able to professionalize the sport okugijja ku level gyeriko kati okugiteeka ku level ya waggulu nze sirabawo negative side yonna era wali contentions sitegeera waki tulina contentions ezo kitwandibadde twetaaga okukola okuyingira more research understanding what does corporate governance mean. The FIA body that we subscribe to as an ASN is running corporate level of organization. It's corporate governance at the FIA. Kakati fe waki kigenda ebigenda beera nsonga ya contention. It should not be an issue of contention. It should be an issue of research, understand, execute. Period. That is the way the sport gets professionalized.
Unfortunately, nze sasobola kuba sobodde kuba part of that review at all. Those are nali netegekera okugenda mu review eyo nafuna demise ya omukyala muto so nesobola kuba part of the team yasobola okugenda eyo naye in all honesty ndowooza it's the way to go kugenda corporate kituufu nnyo naye ndowooza realizing that in the shortest given time that we now it's the problem and trust me
paka 20th of June
trust me you motorsport olwokuba bagamba sakawo kakali kakulumye olaba ekiringa nga akawuka ak'obuwuka what is affecting everyone motorsport sawa zino oba the Constitutional Review Committee abantu tebategedde document eyo tebagimanyi tebagisomye kisooka kya byonna niwe bagezezaako gye banyonnyola kitwala obudde omuntu okutegeera document eno and balaba this like a rush okulaba nga document eno eba achieved baladdewo deadline ya 20th June kiki kyetugobe nnyo ku 20th June
at the NCS. Those are time frames set by the regulator.
Terms set by the regulator, NCS, on the National Sports Act, of which if you're in comprehension with everything, all the terms and conditions of the Act, you have access to.
government funding
kati nze kyendaba in my view kyetusinza okutunuulira nti bwe tuba aligned by June 20th tuba part of the consideration for government funding and everything this coming financial year. Nze ndowooza understanding eyange nyinza okuba siyinza omugezi asinga instead of rushing so much into this act and everything nze ndowooza we can play a roadmap tujja kuba we cannot achieve everything we want in this shortest time possible. We can't. June 20th is 2 weeks away from now. So we cannot achieve that. Why do we rush? Let us agree, Ntiomani. We can do away with this to call a roadmap. Maybe we can register in August, September, October as the year progresses. Na ye to call ekituufu. Kubanga nze ndaba ekiteeso ebizibu byonna byonna abantu balemedde okutegeera document eno bulungi and olwokuba balemedde okutegeera ekintu bagishaninga.
But you see, when was this document issued out?
Kyekibadde kigenda okubeera ekibuuzo
kyabayo saawa zino document eyinza okuba yali issued way 2023 ne bameka abaagifunako 2023.
What do you mean bameka abaagifunako?
Bameka abaagifunako wagifuna nze nagifuna eno kayinza okuba yagifuna bameka abaagifunako bapresident soyinza okwesanga bapresident
kyagezaako okugamba okugifuna osobola ogifuna naye wagisoma
nekirala nti twali twakamala ogifuna mu 2023 the injunctions came. What was the main injunction? Was the constitutional review process. Process yonna yali halted. Twalina omwaka mulamba n'ekintu twalina omwaka mulamba n'ekintu tuaduwinga ku kintu kyekimu ekyokugenda mu maaso okitegeera at the end of the after okumala okwonoona emyaka 2 oba 1 n'ekitundu yatwazeemu tugende ekintu kyekimu mu maaso. So that disturbance yayonoona gundi y'abantu nene nnyo.
So what do you suggest? You're saying the
nze ndowooza kyetulina okukola ekituufu we give a roadmap. This can be achieved in this time, not necessarily
but no, not necessarily. You see, but you said regulator akugambye by 20th June.
Yes.
And then how do you njagala katokole mu time frame review committee yagamba we are meeting clubs. I think they are meeting the whole week.
There's always a two-way. 20th June Chigani. What's the way?
No.
What's next?
After because we're seeing an executive committee and but seeing an executive committee. Nabo bafune. The committee met the executive committee. Nabo bafune their views. What then after, because again nanonya mweche, because executive committee were part of, these are members of the same clubs we're meeting.
Yes.
So I think they wanted to give them special treatment about executive committee. Definitely. Was sync and they gave them to them. But I'm told some of them even walked out. That's what that's what I'm told. Then Katinea baada ya kuita EGM bamaze ku incorporating all these ideas they was presenting. Then the next EGM and they to ratify.
When was that? When is that?
That is the roadmap.
Timeline that is quite is gives that EGM takes 14 days to call.
Yes.
14 days from now Zibameka.
14 days from now will be 8th or June, yes. June 8th.
June 8th.
Yes.
Another 14 days to what we are in 20th.
To what will be right on the cusp. Whatever. My parting shots on this.
Tezigata.
Omuzungu agamba ngabo nasoma nina PhD. Change is hard, but it is very necessary.
Yes.
Whether we like it or we don't like it,
we have to change.
We have to change. Initially, Nagambi, the sport is bigger than all of us. The sport must survive. The sport has to survive 10 years from now, 20 years from now. Newe tunarwana nyokati.
Eleme kuchuka.
Chirino kuchuka. So, mbasaba.
Tukirize chichuke.
Change is very hard. But it is the good of the change that we need.
Parting shots. Okay. I can pick up your participants.
Nze ndowooza tukkirize.
Ogenda kunza ne roadmap z'obadde. Ogenda kunza roadmap z'obadde.
Party shots zange.
Ogenda kuchuza roadmap.
Nedda sigenda ndivudde nakuyiga roadmap sibiinako.
Wobiddiramu nga?
Muganda wange, mukwano gwange, Joel Kasiriya field mama. Yesterday. Bali arrangements zigenda maaso. Tukungubagira wamu naawe. Wiki zino zibadde nzibu nnyo gye tuli ffenna naye Joe kama akugumye ne family musobola okuyita mu kaseera kano kemuyitamu akakazigizigi. Ekirala kulisaayo bawumma bonna abasobodde okugenda mukola autocross. Ate era tetugana kwetereeza nga wumma ndowooza mulaba ebiriwo mu maaso tukwatagane lumu tukole ebintu ebitutwala mu maaso ng'ekibiina. Awo maaso tugenda tusinga okwetaaga nnyo.
Bali kubeera ku lunaku lwa leero. Tujja kudda ku Monday inshallah na byonna ebindawala mu motorsport. Ebigenda maaso mu sport yaffe
bikirizibwa.
We can only wish the whole turbulences and for the better. We'll get back next week. Have a good week, good night, and God bless. We're out.
Change is necessary.
We like to change.
One more.